They're going to be the Super Bowl champions.
And the confetti rains down on the field.
There's no exact recipe to win football's ultimate prize. From the most unlikely to the greatest of the modern era, we're ranking every team to win the Lombardi Trophy.
Manning out of the shotgun, deep ball down the left sideline, and it's going to be caught. Was he inbounds? Yes!
The 2011 Giants are the only team to win the Super Bowl with a negative point differential on the season. But New York pulled off a giant upset, stunning the 15-1 Packers in the divisional round. The G-Men needed OT to get past San Francisco in the NFC title game, then got the best of the Pats in Super Bowl 46. 4 years earlier, Tom Coughlin's group shocked the world as massive underdogs in Super Bowl 42.
Manning takes the snap. Back to throw, under pressure, avoids the rush, and he's going to fight out of it. Still fights out of it, now throws it deep downfield. Wide open Tyree, who makes the catch.
Big Blue had a 10-6 record, one Pro Bowler, and finished middle of the pack in offense and defense. But boy, were they resilient. New York won 3 road playoff games, including a frigid contest in Green Bay, before the biggest upset in recent memory. Did Joe Flacco have the single greatest postseason of any player ever? The numbers back it up. Over 1,100 yards passing in 4 games, 11 touchdowns, and no interceptions, and he beat Peyton Manning, then went on the road and took down Tom Brady before winning Super Bowl MVP.
Throws deep, far sideline, Jacoby Jones has it at the 20, and the miracle is answered.
8 of the Ravens' 14 total wins that year came by 1 score, including the Super Bowl. Baltimore sent 7 players to the Pro Bowl and had a pair of Hall of Famers leading them on defense. Did you know that the 1980 Raiders were the very first wild card team to win the Super Bowl? Led by Defensive Player of the Year Lester Hayes' 18 interceptions, including the postseason, Oakland had the most takeaways in the league.
Back is Jaworski with time to throw. Intercepted, Rod Martin. And Rod Martin comes up with his second interception of the day. Comes up the middle, picked off. Rod Martin the 3rd time today.
Linebacker Rod Martin picked off 3 passes in Super Bowl 15 as the Raiders crushed Philadelphia 27-10. 6 players, Coach Tom Flores and team owner Al Davis, are all enshrined in Canton. The 1970 Colts won perhaps the sloppiest Super Bowl of all time. Dallas and Baltimore combined for 11 turnovers, but Jim O'Brien's late field goal gave the Colts a 3-point victory.
The kick is up, it is long enough, it is!
This Baltimore team went 11-2-1 with a top 10 scoring offense and defense. Veteran quarterbacks Johnny Unitas and Earl Morrall led a potent passing attack, while the defense allowed just 10 points per game in the playoffs. Led by a pass rusher in his prime and the no-fly zone secondary, the 2015 Broncos secured their 3rd Lombardi Trophy in team history. The best pass defense in the league masked Peyton Manning's steep decline at the end of the season, and in the playoffs, it was Von Miller doing it all.
In the pocket, he's hit and sacked inside the 5. The ball is free. Von Miller with the sack.
Miller had 5 sacks and 3 takeaways in the postseason, winning MVP of Super Bowl 50. The addition of quarterback Matthew Stafford turned the Rams into instant Super Bowl contenders in 2021, and in one of the greatest receiving seasons of all time, Cooper Kupp sealed the deal.
Throws the fade, back shoulder, Cooper Kupp's got it!
Kupp won Offensive Player of the Year, catching 145 passes for over 1,900 yards and 16 touchdowns. LA went 12-5 with 3 All-Pros, including the legendary Aaron Donald, who made the game-clinching play in Super Bowl 56. While the 2001 Patriots entered Super Bowl 36 as big-time underdogs, this squad was built to win games. Bill Belichick had a fantastic defense, and the only question was, how far could unknown backup quarterback Tom Brady take this team?
Brady to the end zone. 5 wideouts, time to carry the corner. Touchdown! Brady rolling and throwing. It is caught for a touchdown. Steps up, gonna run it. Inside the 5, touchdown!
If you include the postseason, New England won 13 of its final 15 games. They won 3 playoff games by 13 combined points, including a Super Bowl stunner off the foot of Adam Vinatieri. From wild card to Super Bowl champs, the Steelers were road warriors in 2005. Pittsburgh went 11-5 that year, boasting the NFL's number 3 scoring defense. Bill Cowher and company handled the Bengals in Cincinnati, shocked the Colts in Indy, then made easy work of the Broncos in Denver. It was on to Super Bowl 40.
Little toss. Here comes a gadget play. Randall L. He can throw. He was a quarterback in college. Touchdown the Heinz Ward.
Pittsburgh's 21-10 win gave Cowher his first Super Bowl win and the 5th for the franchise. The 1988 49ers had to claw their way into the playoffs after a QB controversy nearly derailed their season. But once head coach Bill Walsh stuck with Joe Montana over Steve Young, it was smooth sailing.
A give to Craig. First down, burst through 30 to the 40, being chased. The 20, 10, touchdown 49ers.
Running back Roger Craig won Offensive Player of the Year with over 2,000 yards from scrimmage. The Niners finished second in total offense with 6 Pro Bowlers. In a hard-fought Super Bowl 23, Joe Cool did his thing on a 92-yard game-winning drive. While offense is what we've come to think of during the Patrick Mahomes era, the 2023 Chiefs were built on the other side of the ball. Steve Spagnuolo's defense allowed the second fewest points and the 4th fewest passing yards in the league.
To Hill. Goes lower, ball's loose. It is loose and picked up and rattled. Touchdown.
But Kansas City suffered a bizarre string of defeats marred by drops, penalties, and turnovers. 5 of the Chiefs' 6 losses on the season came by 8 points or fewer. But once the postseason came around, it was business as usual. Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and the rest of the offense came back to life while a dominant defense did its thing. That's 3 in 5 seasons for Chiefs Kingdom, and we're calling it a dynasty. In 1982's strike-shortened 9-game season, Washington went 8-1 with their kicker winning league MVP. Joe Gibbs' defense allowed just 14 points per game, the fewest in the NFL, and in the playoffs, it was all Riggins all the time.
Riggins. He's going to go all the way.
Washington won all 4 of its playoff games by double digits. Running back John Riggins put the team on his back with 136 carries, 610 yards, and 4 scores, bringing the first Lombardi Trophy to the nation's capital. The unthinkable happened in the spring of 2020 when Tom Brady jetted out of New England to sign with the Bucs. It didn't look right at first, but Brady got into a groove almost immediately. He passed for over 4,600 yards and finished tied second in the league with 40 touchdowns.
Brady goes for the deep shot. He's got a touchdown.
Tampa scored close to 31 points per game, but defense wins championships, right? The Bucs allowed the fewest rush yards in the NFL and had 3 players with 8 or more sacks. They made life miserable for Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs in a Super Bowl beatdown. The 2006 Colts were nowhere near the best team in the Peyton Manning era, but after 6 seasons of postseason torture, number 18 finally got over the hump.
Intercepted. We're going to the Super Bowl. We're going to the Super Bowl.
Indianapolis finished with a plus 67-point differential, the 9th best of any Colts team quarterbacked by Manning. Their defense was often a liability, but the Colts made plays when they needed to. In a rainy Super Bowl 41, Kelvin Hayden's pick 6 sealed the team's first title in Indy. Joe Gibbs' second Super Bowl team in Washington had to get through yet another strike season. Battling a constant QB shuffle, they still averaged over 25 points per game, 4th most in the league. Doug Williams took the starting role in the postseason, leading his team to a win in Super Bowl 22.
Got Sanders on the fly at midfield. He's gone. Touchdown, Washington. Williams to pass, lobs it up. He's got Clark at the goal line. He's got it. Touchdown. Doug Williams is back. Lobs it into the end zone. He's got Didier. Touchdown. Holy cow.
I've never seen 34 points in one quarter by one team.
He's got Sanders in the clear at the 10. Touchdown. That's a new Super Bowl record. 4 touchdowns in one quarter.
Williams was named the game's MVP, becoming the first black quarterback to start and win a Super Bowl in a 42-10 romp over Denver. The Steelers' very first Super Bowl winning team took down a loaded Vikings squad. After drafting 4 future Hall of Famers earlier that year, the sky was the limit for this Steelers group, led by Franco Harris, Pittsburgh registered the 6th-ranked scoring offense in the league to complement the number 1 ranked Steel Curtain total defense.
That was blocked again. It's intercepted by Joe Green.
Defensive Player of the Year, Mean Joe Green, spearheaded this unit to a first-place finish in takeaways, and they didn't stop in the postseason, forcing 3 Fran Tarkenton interceptions on Super Bowl Sunday. Not many seem to think the 2018 Patriots were championship material after losing back-to-back games in December, but Tom Brady rallied the troops to remind the world that the Patriots were still there. With a top 10 scoring offense and defense, this balanced team had to survive overtime in a road AFC championship game in Arrowhead to get to Atlanta for Super Bowl 53.
Brady under center, a give to Burkett, runs it left for the win! America's worst nightmare is back!
New England continued to pound the rock like they had all year in the big game, but it was the defense that stepped up against the Rams to secure a 6th Lombardi trophy. The 2010 Packers had to make it through a road gauntlet before getting to Super Bowl 45, including an NFC Championship matchup against rival Chicago at Soldier Field.
On 3rd down and 5, pressure, pass is picked off, and who is it? Big B.J. Raji.
Green Bay finished the season with a plus 148 scoring differential thanks to their 2nd-ranked scoring defense. But in the playoffs, no one shined brighter than Aaron Rodgers, throwing for 273 yards a game and 9 touchdowns during their 4-game stretch. His efforts helped Green Bay capture the 4th Lombardi trophy for the Packers.
He scrambles around, throws it back corner of the end zone. Santonio with a touchdown! I don't know how he did it!
Of course, that's how the 2008 Steelers won the Super Bowl, but how did they get there? Well, they say defense wins championships, and they're not wrong in this instance, boasting the number 1 scoring defense in the NFL. Led by Defensive Player of the Year James Harrison, Pittsburgh suffocated opponents. And even though Big Ben and Santonio Holmes' late-game heroics on the final drive deserve endless praise, we'd be remiss if we didn't show the other big play of that game.
Steelers show blitz. Here they come. He gets it away, and it's picked off at the goal line.
No, he's still on his feet. Here comes Harrison jumping over people to the 20, the 15, the 10, the 5, and that's a touchdown for Pittsburgh.
Vince Lombardi was an offensive savant, but his 1967 Packers defense was perhaps more responsible for the team's 2nd straight Super Bowl victory. As the number 1 total defense in the league, the Packers stymied their competition in Super Bowl II.
Here's his pitch, and it is intercepted. Herb Adderley picks it up at the count of the 20, cuts away from Darryl Lamarnick at the 5, and goes all the way for a touchdown.
Green Bay racked up an impressive 123-point differential on the year, not too shabby for a team with 9 Hall of Famers on the roster. The Packers' 1967 campaign reminded everyone that the original NFL was still king. The 2014 Patriots felt their motto, "Do your job," embodied their season. Well, no one played his role more perfectly than Malcolm Butler at the end of Super Bowl 49.
Pass is intercepted at the goal line by Malcolm Butler.
While Butler played hero in that game, it was a team effort throughout the year for New England. With a top 10 offense and defense, the Patriots were as balanced as any team and seldom turned the ball over. Most importantly, Belichick wasn't afraid to get crafty in times of need.
Edelman in motion. Edelman takes the swing pass. Edelman's going to throw. Deep downfield, wide open, Amendola.
New England scored 40-plus points on 6 occasions that season, truly one of the more dominant campaigns in recent history. From Belichick's 8th ring as head coach or coordinator to his 2nd, the 1990 New York Giants had to endure plenty of drama in Super Bowl 25 in order to prevail.
No good. Wide right.
Led by the league's number 1 scoring defense, the Giants allowed just 12 passing touchdowns all season. They ran the ball well, committed just 14 turnovers all year, and sent 7 guys to the Pro Bowl. Bill Parcells displayed some of his finest coaching yet. All you need to know about the 2002 world champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers is that their defense was one of the best ever. Hall of Famers Warren Sapp, Derek Brooks, Rondé Barber, and John Lynch, with a lot of help from Simeon Rice, led Tampa Bay to Super Bowl 37. There, they shut down MVP Rich Gannon and the high-powered Raiders offense.
Gannon flushed out, chased by Spires, and it's intercepted by Dexter Jackson. Blitzing, and he gets picked up, and it's intercepted again by Dexter Jackson. 2nd and 2. Gannon to the outside, and it is intercepted by Dwight Smith, the nickelback, and goes in for the touchdown.
Goes right through that double team.
3rd and 18, and this is going to write a finish. Derek Brooks does it to cement the Super Bowl.
The Bucs led the NFL with 31 interceptions that year. This Tampa D only allowed 10 passing touchdowns, becoming the #1 scoring unit for the season. The 1983 Raiders put up a then Super Bowl record of 38 points in a convincing win over Washington.
To the 20, to the 10, to the 5, touchdown Raiders! Holy Toledo!
It's no surprise the Raiders were clicking on all cylinders. Tom Flores' bunch was the 3rd-ranked scoring offense in the league in 1983, behind their three-headed monster of Jim Plunkett, Marcus Allen, and Todd Christensen. The latter set a then NFL record for receptions by a tight end, with 92 that year. The Raiders also passed for 31 touchdowns, tied for 2nd best in the league. Were they the best defense of all time? Well, that's for you to decide, but one thing is certain, the 2000 Ravens dominated their competition. They gave up just 10 points per game, had the most takeaways, and the fewest rushing yards allowed per game.
McNair has the football, throws underneath, and it's picked off. Ray Lewis has the ball.
Led by Defensive Player of the Year Ray Lewis, the Ravens took it to the Giants in Super Bowl 35. Baltimore passed the test with flying colors, dismantling New York 34-7, and that lone Giants score came on a return touchdown. On Sunday, January 24th, 1982, a dynasty began. The upstart 49ers had just broken through to the Promised Land after defeating the Bengals in Super Bowl 16. Despite the Hall of Fame combo of Bill Walsh and Joe Montana, the 49ers defense was actually the better unit in 1981.
He's throwing right side. It is intercepted at the 20-yard line.
They allowed just 10 TD rushes all season. With the best turnover differential in the NFL, the Niners cruised to a 13-3 season, their most wins in franchise history. While it may not have been the most dominant 49ers team ever, perhaps it was the most important one. The Chiefs ended a 50-year Super Bowl drought in 2019 when they vanquished the 49ers down in Miami.
Chiefs are Super Bowl champions.
But their magical 2019 season didn't come without some drama. Kansas City trailed by 10 or more points in each of their 3 playoff games, and their comeback in Super Bowl 54 might have been the most sensational of them all.
Stepping up. He's throwing long downfield for Tyreek Hill. Got it at the 20-yard line.
That 3rd and 15 conversion helped Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, and Travis Kelce capture their first Lombardi trophy. The Barry Switzer Cowboys picked up right where the Jimmy Johnson Cowboys left off. In just his 2nd season, Switzer led the '95 Cowboys to a Super Bowl victory over the resurgent Steelers. Dallas's 3-headed monster of Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, and Michael Irvin led the way. Smith spearheaded a Dallas rush attack, scoring a then single-season record 25 touchdowns.
The handoff goes to Emmitt Smith, his first run, 45-50. He's going to score. Touchdown, Cowboys.
A dominant force on defense as well. This Dallas team wouldn't have been able to win 13 games by double digits without a bit of physicality. Switzer's boys sent 10 players to the Pro Bowl that season. Ah yes, the year Patrick Mahomes broke the 23-year-old curse of the MVP not winning the Super Bowl in the same season. As a 2-time recipient of the most prestigious award in pro football, Mahomes quarterbacked the Chiefs to the #1 scoring offense in 2022.
4 for 2, Mahomes escaping, on the move, Mahomes stops, spins, flips it forward for the touchdown!
Travis Kelce paced the way for tight ends with over 1,300 yards. With 4 first-team All-Pros on the roster, Kansas City outlasted Cincinnati in the AFC title game, then Philadelphia in a fantastic Super Bowl. After 3 Super Bowl losses in the 80s, it would have been easy for John Elway to think it wasn't meant to be, but his resilience and a lot of help from running back Terrell Davis was the spark Denver needed to win its first Lombardi.
This one's for John.
It was a tall task for Denver in '97 going from wild card to an upset over the heavily favored Packers in Super Bowl 32. Elway tossed a career-high 27 passing touchdowns that year, while Davis racked up over 1,700 rushing yards, a special season in the Mile High City. In 2017, the Eagles were arguably the most dominant team in football, equipped with a top 5 scoring offense and defense. But when MVP hopeful Carson Wentz went down with a torn ACL late in the season, all Super Bowl hope seemed lost. Enter Nick Foles.
Foles launches downfield. Touchdown!
As the playoffs went deeper, Foles got hotter, accounting for over 323 passing yards a game during the postseason. Foles' effectiveness and a little creativity led them to a monumental upset of Tom Brady and the Patriots in a record-setting Super Bowl.
4th and goal. And they're going to snap it, and it's Trey Burton who throws caught. Foles, touchdown.
2009 was the year New Orleans finally reached the mountaintop. The wildly successful combo of Sean Payton and Drew Brees led the Saints' top-ranked scoring offense. Brees accounted for the most passing TDs in the league and had the highest rating of any quarterback.
Look at my man Drew Brees as Brees looks for a shot downfield for Meacham. Got it! New Orleans touchdown. What a sensational throw.
The Saints finished with a plus 169-point differential and put up 30 or more points in 12 games. Tracy Porter's pick 6 in Super Bowl 44 put the nail in the coffin and secured the team's first Lombardi. Capturing their 4th championship in 6 seasons, the Steelers showed new levels of dominance in 1979. With the league's top-scoring offense, Pittsburgh set the franchise scoring record that season, which wouldn't be topped until 2014.
Bradshaw deep for Swan. He has it.
With multiple Hall of Famers on the roster, the Pittsburgh defense finished the year as the 5th-ranked scoring unit and held the Rams to just 2 touchdowns in Super Bowl 14. The Patriots came out of nowhere to win their first Super Bowl. 2 years later, though, they were the top dog, but still needed every second to win it again.
Kick up. Kick is on the way. Kick is good! Kick is good!
New England bested Carolina in Super Bowl 38, giving the Cardiac Cats a little taste of their own medicine. While it took a big offensive effort from the Patriots that night, New England had put on a defensive clinic the whole season.
He's buried. Loses the ball. Loose. Bean Rush fires to the right. Picked up. Tyler. Here's the rush. He's sacked. Fumble. Ball on the ground. To throw to the end zone. Ball intercepted.
As the number 1 ranked scoring unit, no team picked off more passes or allowed fewer passing TDs than the Patriots. This squad boasted 3 All-Pros that year, all on the defensive side of the ball.
Well, you've all read and heard all kinds of pregame dope during the week. I think one big sidelight has been Joe Namath. He has said that the Jets are going to win. He doesn't even predict it. He said, I guarantee a Jet victory.
The statement heard round the world in 1968. Broadway Joe and the Jets shut the haters up by becoming the first AFL team to win a Super Bowl. As the AFL Player of the Year, Namath led the Jets' offense to a second-place finish in scoring and a point differential of plus 139. The defense did its part all year, but no performance was better than Super Bowl III, forcing 5 turnovers and holding the high-powered Baltimore offense to just 7 points. The 1993 Cowboys were on a mission to go back-to-back in winning their 2nd straight Lombardi trophy against the Bills. The Cowboys had outscored their familiar AFC foe by 52 points in Super Bowls 27 and 28.
Emmett breaks a tackle. 10, 5, touchdown!
Dallas laid claim to the 2nd-ranked scoring offense and defense that year, winning 10 games by 10 points or more. Running back Emmitt Smith won MVP, pacing the league with over 1,900 yards from scrimmage as Dallas sent 11 players to the Pro Bowl. Kansas City had the AFL's number 1 rushing attack and rushing defense in 1969, so it's no surprise that in Super Bowl IV, the Chiefs thoroughly controlled those phases of the game.
65 horsepower trap. That might pop wide open, Rats.
Running play coming to Garrett on a trap. Touchdown! Garrett scores.
I told you that baby was there. Yes, sir, boys. Woo!
In 1969, KC boasted the #1 scoring defense and the second-ranked scoring offense. They recorded the most takeaways in the AFL and led the league with a plus 182-point differential. Head coach Hank Stram built a powerhouse that season, and the win solidified the AFL before the merger in 1970. Facing the Giants in the Super Bowl was the last thing any NFL team wanted to do in 1986. Led by league MVP Lawrence Taylor and the NFL's #1 rush defense, New York was going to outmuscle opponents. When they met the high-powered Broncos offense in Super Bowl 21, something had to give.
Under heat, safety.
The Giants crushed Denver by a score of 39-20, giving New York and head coach Bill Parcells their first Super Bowl title. A season after losing their Super Bowl debut, the Cowboys came back stronger than ever in 1971. That team was dominant all year. Roger Staubach led the league's #1 scoring offense, while the defense led the NFL in takeaways and was staunch against the run as well.
Greasy forced to scramble. He's down inside the 10-yard line. Big pass rush by Dallas.
It was Dallas's year. They blew out Don Shula's Dolphins by 3 touchdowns en route to their first Lombardi trophy. When it was all said and done, the 71 Cowboys, equipped with 11 Hall of Fame players, earned the right to be among the league's greatest teams.
Toss to White. He's in! Patriots win the Super Bowl!
You know the story, one that can be described in 3 simple words: 28-3. Tom Brady and company saved their most miraculous performance for when it mattered most, but at the start of the season, the GOAT was sitting at home on his couch, suspended for the first 4 games of the year. Brady returned with a vengeance, 28 touchdowns to just 2 picks on the season, but the team's backbone was Belichick's defense, giving up the fewest points in the NFL. They needed every bit of that defense in the second half of their thrilling Super Bowl comeback. Winning their second Super Bowl in back-to-back years solidified the status of Don Shula's Dolphins. Simply put, they were a juggernaut among juggernauts. A plus 193-point differential, the #1 scoring defense, and a Hall of Fame head coach. What more could you want? The defense was the top-ranked unit against the pass, allowing only 5 TDs through the air.
Tarkenton fades back into the pocket, rolls slightly to the right, has to step up, and is now grabbed and knocked down.
Fernandez nails Tarkenton. Intercepted. Curtis Johnson.
Miami had a whopping 12 Pro Bowlers in '73 and beat the Vikings by 3 scores in Super Bowl 8. The 2004 Patriots won 12 games by 10 or more points, including the playoffs, but it took a nail-biter to secure their 3rd title.
Down the middle of the field, and the pass is picked off by Harrison.
Bill Belichick built possibly his most balanced team that season as the Patriots finished inside the top 5 in scoring offense and defense. Tom Brady did what he does best, but having running back Corey Dillon helped as he rushed for the 3rd most yards in the league. New England became just the 7th team to go back-to-back in a year that defined the Patriots as the dynasty of the 2000s. The Legion of Boom bullied the Broncos all the way back to Denver in their Super Bowl 48 victory.
Manning gets hit. Ball up for grabs. Picked off by Smith. Touchdown, Seattle.
In 2013, Pete Carroll and the Seattle Seahawks were on a mission, and with one of the greatest defenses ever assembled, the sky was the limit for this squad. They had the most takeaways in the NFL, only gave up 4 rushing touchdowns, not to mention the #1 ranked pass defense and scoring defense.
Looks, fires near side, going for the end zone. Ball is coming after it. Is it picked up? It is! It's picked off in the end zone!
Second-year starter Russell Wilson and running back Marshawn Lynch powered the offense to a top 5 rushing attack as Seattle outscored their opponents by 186 points in 2013. The 1992 Cowboys won their first division title in 7 seasons, ushering in a new era, and Super Bowl 27 was Dallas's first of 3 titles in the 90s.
And Dallas, your Cowboys are the champions.
While the Cowboys had 6 offensive Pro Bowlers on their roster, they also had the league's best total defense. Running back Emmitt Smith paced the NFL in rushing yards and touchdowns.
Second goal from the 10 and a draw to Smith. And he's in! What a run!
Things were peachy on Super Bowl Sunday as the Cowboys dismantled the Bills by a score of 52-17. You could flip a coin between the 92 and 77 Dallas squads. The 1977 Cowboys were a great iteration of this Dallas team. Sporting the league's #1 ranked total offense and defense, the Cowboys had Hall of Fame players all over the field. Perhaps none more impactful than Offensive Rookie of the Year, Tony Dorsett.
Roger hands it off to Dorsett, into the secondary, to the 30, 35, to the 40, cuts right, watch out! Tony Dorsett, touchdown!
Tom Landry's bunch turned the ball over fewer times than any other team that season, and while Dorsett and quarterback Roger Staubach shined in Super Bowl 12, it was the defense that made the biggest impact. Dallas forced 8 turnovers as Harvey Martin and Randy White shared the game's MVP trophy. Denver's first Super Bowl victory in 1997 was the story of John Elway finally getting over the hump. 1 year later, it was all about TD.
Davis breaks a tackle. He's got 2 catches.
Terrell Davis won MVP, becoming just the 4th player to rush for 2,000 yards in a season. With a plus 192-point differential and a potent rushing attack, the Broncos walloped teams in the playoffs by an average of just under 18 points, and their 501 points scored on the season stood as the franchise record for 15 years. Brett Favre became a Packers legend by bringing the Lombardi Trophy back home to Green Bay in 1996. For the first time in 3 decades, the Packers were champions once again.
Back goes Brett to throw. Here they come. He's got time. He's throwing it downfield.
He's got him
wide open. It is going to be a touchdown to Andre Rison.
As the league's most valuable player in 1996, Favre topped the NFL in passing TDs and led the #1 scoring offense to 9 wins of 20-plus points. But without the help of the league's best scoring defense, led by Hall of Famer Reggie White, the Packers wouldn't have been able to accumulate a plus 246-point differential. As one of the greatest NFL teams ever, the '96 Packers were the embodiment of a well-balanced group. The greatest show on turf checks in at 13 on our list. The 1999 Rams were a hell of a story, considering their preseason quarterback situation.
Now we've got Trent Green down. We've got Trent Green down in the middle of the field.
Kurt Warner checks in. Certainly not where Trent Green is and the kind of experience that Green brought to this offense.
We will rally around Kurt Warner, and we'll play good football.
With starter Trent Green sidelined with a leg injury, little-known Kurt Warner had to step up and quarterback a team with lofty expectations. All he did was throw for over 4,300 yards and 41 touchdowns, earning him MVP honors. Marshall Faulk amassed nearly 2,500 yards from scrimmage, and the Rams registered a plus 284-point differential. They had the #1 scoring offense in the league and top rush defense, but St. Louis had to use all their might to win the franchise's first Super Bowl. San Francisco wasn't messing around in 1989, especially during the playoffs. The Niners outscored their opponents by 100 total points on their way to their 4th Super Bowl title. Joe Montana and Jerry Rice were operating at an elite level, with number 80 recording the most receiving yards and touchdowns in the league.
3rd and 4. Deep route for Rice. Caught, touchdown! Oh my gracious!
For his services, Joe Cool was rewarded with the NFL MVP and Offensive Player of the Year awards. With the league's best scoring offense and 3rd-ranked scoring defense, San Fran let their play do the talking against Denver in the biggest blowout in Super Bowl history. The very first Super Bowl winners, the 1966 Green Bay Packers, equipped with 11 Hall of Famers, wreaked havoc on opposing teams. League MVP Bart Starr led the NFL with a 105 passer rating, and the Green Bay defense ranked 1st in scoring and 1st against the pass. Head coach Vince Lombardi had his team well prepared to face the AFL's Chiefs. The Packers offense strung together 5 touchdowns, none cleaner than this one.
And the throw, he's hit, and it is complete to McGee. Touchdown.
He made a magnificent catch on that. That was a one-hander. Beautiful grab.
McGee's unlikely heroics helped Green Bay become a new kind of champion. The second of 4 installments to the Steelers dynasty came in 1975 when Pittsburgh bested Dallas in Super Bowl X. Quarterback Terry Bradshaw picked a great time to play one of his best games of the year.
Now he fires for the bomb, and Lynn Swann going for it. Swann pulls it in for a touchdown!
With 11 total Pro Bowlers, including 8 on defense, this was truly a phenomenal group. Their plus 211 was tops in the league. They allowed just over 11 points per game and only 9 passing scores all year. They got Roger Staubach to turn the ball over 3 times on their way to earning their second championship in as many years. Steve Young secured a Super Bowl ring as the starting quarterback of the Niners during his 1994 MVP season, but he had to get through Dallas first.
Young goes back to throw, sets up, goes for the end zone, Rice is out there, touchdown 49ers!
After exercising his cowboy demons, it was smooth sailing in the big game. Young threw a Super Bowl record 6 TD passes in a blowout win. Jerry Rice and Ricky Watters each had 3 scores that day for the league's #1 scoring offense. Defensive Player of the Year Deion Sanders led a Niners defense that ranked 6th in points allowed and was 2nd against the run. After bludgeoning opponents all year to the tune of a plus 209 scoring differential, the '94 Niners proved they were one of the NFL's greatest teams of all time. One of the most slept-on teams of the modern era, Washington proved to be the best in the league from start to finish in 1991, with a plus 261-point differential, the most rushing scores, and tied for the best turnover margin in the league. Washington was well accomplished.
Going deep, touchdown Clark.
They had 8 Pro Bowlers on that squad. It's not hard to see why they had the league's top scoring offense and second best scoring defense. In Super Bowl 26, they put a beat down on the Bills, intercepting Jim Kelly 4 times. Both Art Monk and Gary Clark each went for over 100 receiving yards on the day, capturing the franchise's 3rd Lombardi trophy. After numerous crushing playoff exits early in the decade, John Madden finally reached the mountaintop in 1976. Quarterback Ken Stabler and wideout Cliff Branch were the perfect pairing all season, leading the league in passing and receiving TDs.
5-yard line, touchdown Raiders!
This Raiders roster boasted 7 more players to end up in Canton. No season was more significant in John Madden's career, helping the Raiders earn the franchise's first Lombardi trophy. 1978 was the year of Bradshaw. He threw for a league-leading 28 passing touchdowns, earning MVP honors, and despite Pittsburgh having the league's best scoring defense, Super Bowl 13 against the Cowboys turned into a shootout, and it was number 12 in black and gold who led the way.
Throws deep for Stallworth in the end zone. Touchdown, Pittsburgh!
On a team with 10 future Hall of Famers, it was Bradshaw who shined brightest, exploding for 4 touchdown passes. Lynn Swann, John Stallworth, and Franco Harris all played huge parts as the Steelers vanquished their rivals 35-31 in a classic, giving them their 3rd Super Bowl win. The 1984 49ers played 19 total games, losing just once by a 3-point margin. That's how incredible they were. Joe Montana and Roger Craig were a lethal 1-2 punch for the league's 2nd-ranked scoring offense.
Fires it complete. It's Roger Craig.
But they needed defense to stop MVP Dan Marino in Super Bowl 19. Call them the original Legion of Boom. All 4 members of the 49ers secondary were named to the Pro Bowl. As the league's best scoring defense, Ronnie Lott and company allowed a share of the fewest passing touchdowns all season. No team perhaps made a bigger statement in a Super Bowl than this bunch. The world-famous '85 Bears hit the Super Bowl shuffle well before they ran over the Patriots in the big game. After losing just once all season, Chicago was ready to close things out in style with the pieces that got them there in the first place: defense and running the football.
Perry. That one registered 3.8. And intercepted for a touchdown, the rookie Reggie Phillips.
Chicago had a plus 258-point differential and notched 14 wins by double digits, including the playoffs. Mike Ditka's squad ranked 1st in points allowed, 2nd in points scored, and had the best turnover margin in the NFL. Walter Payton spearheaded the league's best rushing attack, while Buddy Ryan's defense gave up the fewest yards on the ground of any team. Try finding a weakness. We'll wait. And surprise, surprise, our #1 Super Bowl winner of all time is the only team to finish a full season undefeated in the modern era. The 1972 Dolphins scored the most points and allowed the fewest points of any team all season. But when Hall of Fame starting quarterback Bob Greasy suffered an injury in Week 5, the Dolphins had to turn to veteran backup Earl Morrall. The 38-year-old former MVP seemingly hadn't lost a step as he guided Miami to a 9-0 record as their starter, earning All-Pro honors.
Earl drops to throw. He sets. He is firing the near side. Tilly open. Touchdown!
Greasy took back the reins in the playoffs, starting in Super Bowl VII against Washington. Luckily, he wasn't asked to do much. Miami's three-headed rushing attack, led by Larry Zonka, and the no-name defense wore down Washington in their 14-7 victory. A perfect season ending with the franchise's first Lombardi trophy. Can't get better than that.